Story 1. My stomach feels like that drop on a high roller coaster that just doesn't go away. Story 2. The stomach is the most affected area, but in extreme cases, it can occur all over the body. Imagine experiencing full-body paralysis. Story 3. Balance centers require reorientation and a perspective to rationalize the inflow of information. Paranoia and gut intuition are slightly different. Anxiety resembles the ADHD form of these feelings, while the intuition of paranoia is often expressed in posture and stance. This connects to vertigo and my experiences of discomfort with heights, even though I can usually overcome them. Story 4. Stomach discomfort. Dry mouth. Rapid heartbeat. Nauseous feeling as if I want to vomit, but I will likely just end up dry heaving. Story 5. I mainly feel it in my chest and throat, and then it spreads to my stomach like a sense of dread. Sometimes my fingers and kneecaps tingle, but that is not very frequent. Story 6. Eyes, nose, throat, chest, lungs, wrists, elbows, shoulders, stomach, heart, knees, back, kidneys, vagina, ankles, toes. Story 7. My stomach, back, and neck are affected by anxiety. My stomach becomes upset when I am very anxious, and my neck and back feel tense. I also tend to tap my leg when I am anxious. Story 8. Stomach when it's general, chest when it's a bad day, throat when I'm about to have an attack. It intensifies the worse it gets. If I feel it in my throat, then I take a personal day and let whatever happens occur. Story 9. If it's a nervous situation, it can cause symptoms like sweating in the stomach, heart, and hands, as well as digestive issues. Long-term, unresolved anxiety can lead to problems such as tension in the jaws and hips. Anxiety is a powerful force. Story 10. Lower back and center of the chest experience persistent anxiety, while my hands tingle and my face feels cold, hot, and numb during sudden episodes. Story 11. When it gets overwhelming, I notice myself clenching my teeth. If it becomes too extreme, I sometimes briefly lose consciousness. The last time that happened, I was on a crowded tram. When I feel trapped, my anxiety increases significantly. I folded over and slumped against the wall of the tram. Since I was at the back, people didn't really notice, but I had to get off at the next stop to regroup. Story 12. Upper stomach and chest feel tight, sometimes like a pulled muscle or possibly a heart attack, although I know I am not actually having one. I feel warm and flushed in the face during half of the worst episodes. I have been diagnosed with chronic and severe conditions. I experience headaches afterward, but I do not feel the anxiety associated with them. Story 13. If stress comes on suddenly, I feel it in my stomach. If it is long-term stress, I feel it in my upper back. Story 14. It's common to experience increased heart rate and blood pressure, muscle tension, and heavier breathing. You may also perspire. It has been noted that stress can impact sleep, digestion, and mental well-being. Story 15. Chest mostly. But when it's really bad, it's a whole body issue. I find that I have to breathe to calm down. I would say the chest is definitely the most affected. Story 16. Jaw, throat, heart, chest, specifically the small muscles around the ribs, spine, nose, specifically the small blood vessels, intestines. Story 17. Hips and pelvis. I didn't know that was a thing until I received treatment for depression. Finally, pain-free. Story 18. The pit of my stomach feels heavy, and when it's bad in my heart, it radiates like icy waves, sending shocks through me until I get goosebumps. Story 19. Sometimes it feels like someone is sitting on my chest. Other times, it feels like a swarm of angry bees in my stomach. Story 20. My stomach feels like the classic butterflies in your stomach sensation, but with double the intensity, and it can happen throughout the day for no apparent reason. Story 21. Everywhere. My fingers become clumsy. My grip strength fluctuates. My arms feel heavy. I experience dizziness. Black spots appear in my vision. My chest and stomach tighten. My heart rate increases. My legs tense until they shake. And my tongue feels fuzzy, losing fine motor function. Occasionally, my toes go numb if I cannot calm myself down sufficiently. Story 22. Neck and shoulders. I think my trapezius muscles are the strongest muscles I have since they are so tense all the time. Story 23. Stomach discomfort, rapid heartbeat, shaking hands, and an overwhelming sense of unease in every cell of your body. Then came the hyperventilation, heat at the back of my neck, and tears, all while my mind kept saying, "You're going to die. You're going to embarrass yourself," or my personal favorite, "This is why you're unlovable," or "The world as we know it is ending right now." Story 24. Lower neck and the tops of my shoulders. I'm still able to function fully, but something just doesn't feel right. Story 25. I used to experience severe nausea and sickness in my abdominal area due to stress from a job until it was treated. However, today my legs were shaking even though I wasn't consciously feeling anxious. I suppose my body was reacting regardless. Story 26. Throughout the body, every cell with adrenaline and cortisol receptors contracts simultaneously, causing a state of constant alertness. Story 27. Between my neck and my stomach, I usually feel a sensation starting in my chest and then spreading. Sometimes it begins in my stomach and throat at the same time, which is uncomfortable because it also makes me feel nauseous. Story 28. In my mind and in my breath. If it becomes overwhelming, I feel tightness in my chest and a heaviness in my stomach. Story 29. From the furthest point on my left shoulder to the furthest point on my right shoulder. The closer they get together, the more anxious I become. Story 30. Chest and back, primarily shoulders. Legs feel restless. Sometimes, I experience a crushing sensation in my head that I have to talk or breathe myself through. It's not pain, but rather a very strange sensation, as if my head might cave in. Story 31. Mine is an electrical discharge starting from my head and dispersing through my arms and legs. Story 32. Stomach, chest, throat, bowels, and shoulders. Nervous stomach and a lump in the throat. Difficulty swallowing and dry mouth. Story 33. In my neck, under my arms, and on my hands, I get sweaty very quickly, and I want to tug at my hair or claw my eyes out. Story 34. Weirdly, the first place I feel pain is the inside of my elbows. It's this aching sensation, and I've never heard of anyone else experiencing the same thing. Story 35. The back of my head goes numb. I have a pin in the ceiling of my car to poke myself with to remind me that I can feel and it's just an attack. Story 36. Stomach, upper back, chest, skin. At its worst, it feels like I can't breathe, and someone just dumped a bucket of spiders over my head. Story 37. Chest. If the pain is severe and prolonged, my digestion shuts down. During the pandemic, I went from a size 12 to a size 4. I had no appetite, and when I did eat, I felt full after just a few bites. My poor husband made fantastic meals that I didn't want. During the prolonged anxiety, I worked 2 jobs over 7 days a week without any issues. I was never tired. I needed the work. Whenever I had time to myself, I felt a flutter in my chest and my mind raced with thoughts of doom. Story 38. Chest area primarily, occasionally affecting the solar plexus and the back of the throat. Severe anxiety attacks are accompanied by heightened feelings of anxiety in these areas, along with actual radiating pain. Story 39. Let's see. Trembling hands, neck and head pain, weakness in the legs, stomach cramping, spine tingling, and shortness of breath. Story 40. Upper shoulders tense up, and I find that this is where physical anxiety begins in my body. This accompanies a mental spiral that often makes me feel dizzy or disoriented, as if I need to run away. I start to listen to my heart closely and inspect myself for other symptoms that make me feel like I might be dying at that moment. However, a friendly reminder that I have felt this before and, in fact, did not die has helped over time, serving as a reinforcement of reality when the spiral hits. Story 41. Esophageal tract, sometimes extending down to the stomach and sometimes up in my throat. Occasionally, it is felt right in the chest. Story 42. Under my sternum, I feel embarrassment, which leads to my anxiety, in the palms of my hands and up my wrists. Story 43. I feel a pulsing wave sensation in my left arm and the left side of my chest, along with difficulty taking a deep breath. Story 44. I feel it all over, unfortunately. It has taken root in my nervous system to the point that I experience it even when I am not really anxious. I get lightheaded, dizzy, have heart palpitations, stomach aches, sweats, blurry vision, and hyperventilation. It is not fun. Story 45. I experience intense heart palpitations and can feel my blood flowing through my arms and legs. It feels like the moment you step off an unseen edge, and a wave of dread and panic washes over your entire body for a moment. Story 46. My shoulders and stomach experience tingling, primarily in my fingers, followed by a sensation in my head. When it becomes severe, it feels like I am about to pass out while everything becomes either numb or tingles for hours. Story 47. A little below the chest but above the stomach. Sometimes in the neck or along my body in a straight line, as if I am being split in half. Story 48. I was a premature baby with a broken kidney that didn't show until I was 4 or 5 when I suddenly passed out from pain. They disconnected it, so it became a lump of scar tissue and is no longer a functioning kidney. During my time at university, when I was experiencing high levels of anxiety, I had phantom pain in the area where that non-functioning kidney is. The pain was so intense that the doctors performed numerous scans, exposing me to a lifetime of radiation, as they were genuinely concerned that some of the scar tissue had broken off because it was painful and located right at that spot. Everything came back normal, including cancer screenings. It turned out that it was just anxiety causing the phantom pain. I left university early because I wasn't coping with other life issues, and the pain eventually disappeared. So that's my experience with anxiety in relation to my body. Story 49. You know how some skeletons are assembled by running wire through the bones? Feels like that, a wire stringing my bones together. Story 50. My stomach feels tight, my chest gets tight, my feet become clammy, my arms and hands tingle, and I generally feel awful. Story 51. My mind is filled with a continuous stream of thoughts that I am not actively addressing. It resembles white noise, making it difficult to pinpoint a single thought. Story 52. My stomach feels uncomfortable. It also feels like someone is choking my neck. Sometimes my legs tingle, and then I experience full body tremors. Story 53. Everywhere, I experience hives, chest pains, loss of feeling in my extremities, headaches, and stomach aches. It went away with Zoloft. Story 54. I experience what I like to call lightning fingers, where it feels like all of my fingers are filled with electricity. Story 55. It feels like I am being jabbed in the stomach. I had a job for 8 months where I felt anxious about my performance. I constantly experienced terrible stomach pains, as well as indigestion and flatulence issues. This did not help my anxiety. Story 56. I usually feel nauseous. I also experience tremors in my throat and waves of shivers throughout my body during an active anxiety attack. Story 57. It starts at the back of my neck and slowly creeps up to my head. Once it covers my entire head, it begins to travel down my arms and then my chest until my whole body feels like it's overheating and shaking. I feel like I'm 1 second away from smashing my head or bolting and running who knows where. It feels like there's a fire inside me, and the longer I stay still without doing anything, the hotter it gets. Reading these other comments, I feel like a black sheep. What is wrong with me? Maybe the doctors were right. Maybe I do have severe anxiety, but my depression masked it. Well, that's fun. Story 58. I feel a tingling, pinpoint electric sensation in the tips of my fingers. I become hot and sweaty, then suddenly cold and clammy. Story 59. Specifically, don't get near me when I am anxious. I will release gas like a large horse that just consumed an entire industrial-sized crate of elephant fiber vitamins. Story 60. The upper chest area and the crook of my arm where my biceps are tense due to muscle strain. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.